Come here now, girl.
Hello and welcome to What's Map, your one-stop shop for everything workshop. I'm BonBonB and you're very, very welcome. Well, today we're going to lead with a map which I was hoping to squeeze into last week's schedule, but it just packed out too quickly, so it's carried over to this week. But then this week was packing out rather quickly and it wasn't going to get done at all. And then out of nowhere, the creator requested it. Now, I did tell the creator their review was going to be done next year, but I figured, look, I really want to look at this map. You've requested it. It got so close, let's just do it. So we're going to do it today. Then, today's second map is a map you are definitely not going to be building a city on. In fact, you're probably not even going to go and marvel at how beautiful and well detailed it is. But I can tell you there are definitely some of you, just some of you, who are definitely going to be using it. And I mean that. So something a little bit different coming on later on. But if you can't wait for later on to have something different, most of you still don't click the like button even with a daily reminder, so now's the time to do something different. Thanks for your support. Today's first map is Fictitious Topographic Map number 2 by XDogs1, and yes, there is a Fictitious Topographic Map number 1 and a few other maps as well. They made a few. This is the map that stands out for me the most, so this is the one we're doing. Data start square, little highway entrance in the bottom left there, and an interesting shape of the river too. We've got terrain heights, it's a flat river valley, and it's an interesting shape, and I like that about this map. Plus, I like the way that, especially the fertile has been done. The ore in the hills, we're not going to see too much of that, but the fertile really does feel like a farming and big city game. Okay, Sunset Harbour. I'm not off to the workshop yet. Sunset Harbour looks like that. Okay. Off to the workshop. What do we need? Well, no DLC required today. Or is there? Anyway, we've got a nicely written Japanese description there. I'm sure your Japanese is as good as mine. So it says, please use mod to change the European style map theme. This is a map of the European terrain with a large river flowing in the centre of the map. 81 tile mods are required to develop the coasts on the edge of the map. So yes, the 81 tile mod, because the coast is out of the 25 tiles, you will need the 81 tile mod if you want to do a coastal build. But I think this is more about the river running through the middle of the map. A little bit of a janky here. There are a few little minor jankies. And we'll spot a couple more as we fly by. I won't point any, well, maybe one more out. Also, we've got a few trees under the highway, so there aren't many. There are actually very few. And if you're playing this map vanilla, or vanilla style, you won't see any of these. They won't show through at all. It's just an anarchy setting that I use, so we can see how many trees are hiding under the highways, because they are part of the tree count. But tree count isn't a problem either on this map. So this is, yeah, forget it, okay? Now, that description, please use mods to change the European style map style. Now, I thought that meant we were going to have the environment changer, bloody penguins work, to change from, maybe it was a tropical map and we had to change it to European. But no, what I think is required is the custom theme. The custom theme that's being used here is the realistic 1.4.5 European theme, of course with the realistic 1.2 LUT, because we always use that one when nothing's prescribed. Ooh, it's a castle. It's an uninspiring but perfectly placed castle. I wouldn't have that anywhere else. I appreciate that. Also, sirens to the BonBonBingo players. Here they come. Anyway, a little jinky on that occasion there. Anyway, so for me, I think that description in that please use mod to change the European. They were talking about using the custom mod, custom theme, realistic 1.4.5 European. But of course that's not listed in the description, so how are you to know what the... Everything's making noise this morning. How are you supposed to know what the custom theme is supposed to be? It should really be linked as a requirement. So yes, we're going to score slightly lower on the aesthetics because... oh, this is very nice. This is just a start square intersection, by the way, clearly. So we're going to score slightly... Oh, and everybody's favourite factory. That's there for the BonBonBingo players too. Link is still in the description. So anyway, we've got highways that lead on up. You know, a little trumpet interchange here with the highway goes off to the left to the edge of the map and right across the big old bridge. Everybody loves a big old bridge. So we have all of that going for it as well. Now we're going to look at the rail in two different sections. We'll follow in from this side. The rail's well done, apart from one little bit, which I think you'll notice. So yes, realistic 1.5 for 1.4.5 European theme is the one you'll need, but okay, because it's not listed, we have to imagine this as being vanilla theme. Okay, that's why the score is going to be a little bit lower for aesthetics when we get to the actual scoring, because we have to imagine this as it probably would be. I'm showing it as it should be. Maybe I shouldn't be, but I am. Anyway, the highway, the rail, follows the sensible route. And we're going to get probably see a little bit of blue mantle where it's just cutting into the environment a little bit here. This is distance mantle, very difficult to do anything about. Sometimes you really do want to push things to the limit. And so I don't mind that too much. And then the rail stops there. Okay, you go, that's a weird place the rail to stop. I go, no, it's not. It's meant to carry on and connect to here. But I suspect that Xdogs 1 doesn't know about bloody Penguin's tunnel enabler. So yes, you can do this in game, I'm sure, but I'm pretty sure that is basically supposed to tunnel through there. There is no tunnels in the map editor. I think most of you know that already, and you have to use a mod to be able to add tunnels, but you don't need the mod to keep the tunnels afterwards. Okay, off to the highway. This is the heading towards the big old bridge in the other direction. We've got this intersection. It's okay. It's a little bit of an incline on some of these ramps. It's not perfectly slick. This is what I'm saying. Today's map is not perfectly slick. It looks perfectly slick, and it's slick enough for a sensible style of Cities Skylines game. Also, hang on, how many lanes have we got here? Would this be mass transit? It would actually, yeah. You do need mass transit for this one. You are already ahead of me on that's going to happen there. There's the other trees that are under the highway. You're already ahead of me for what's going to happen with the scoring at the end. I'm sure regulars will be. But anyway, if you've got mass transit, it's not a problem. We've got the rail going under the road. I like the way that's done. The road is elevated, but then it instantly elevates to that point so we can cross the river. I reckon that should be a smoother transition, and I'm going to do that right now very quickly using Move It, which is a mod that everybody should have. I'm going to just select the nodes, and I'm going to select all of those nodes. I'm going to go into the slope function, and we're just going to slope all of them, and we'll just see if that looks any better for it, which it will. Of course it will. Of course it will. Just doing as little as that can make a big difference to how the rail aesthetically appears, and that is just a simple change. We're all here, we're all at different levels, we're all learning new stuff, and Xdogs 1 is probably picking up like tunnel enabler, check, slope tool, check, just little things, you know. Anyway, everybody loves a big old bridge, and we've got a spanning bridge there. It's not the prettiest, but it definitely does the job, and it's also not perfectly aligned, but it's almost. It's slightly out, and that makes it slightly interesting, so there's a win. Now, we do have elevated at ground level, pushing into the hill, which is causing some very nasty shark's teeth along here. This is probably the worst thing on the map, pointing that one out. It's easily fixed. Smoothing tool along the middle there, and that's fixed in a moment. And then we've got another potential start location there, which is not the start of the square, but it's worth pointing out that we've got a couple of extra junctions in place so that we can get rolling if we want to, using the 81 tile mod, clearly. Hang on, what's going on here? I'm trying to show you the shipping routes. Oh, I've got to move it open. Hang on, try that again. Right, we've got to move it open. Now Move It's closed. We can have a look at the shipping routes. But boom. We've got two running parallel with each other. Don't feel we need to, but there's no reason why you can't have to. And then in terms of air routes, we've got an arrow, sort of. It's okay. As air routes go, it's fine. A straightforward single line up the middle of the map would have done just as good, I feel. Water flow in the start square. We've got a wide river. It's deep. We've got water flow in there. This will suit for all styles of game players. That is, for me, a little bit of a win. So well done there. Right, I suppose we should have a little look at the map as a whole. You've already seen most of it, but let me just bring you around and just, look at the layout of the river valley. Plenty of buildable space. Big downtown area here. This is where your start square extends into. But also we've got fertile running up here and into this valley here. So maybe you could have a big city and then go with another farming area there and a small port city further downstream. So you could end up with two different city areas with a farming area in between. That's an idea. plus with a nice shape island going on there as well in the middle. Yeah, the coasts and shorelines, but yeah, the shorelines are a little bit clunky, but it's fine for gameplay. It's absolutely fine for gameplay. You'll be okay with it. I'm sure you'll be okay with it. I'm sure you'll be able to detail that to your heart's content and use this as a really good canvas. The hills look really good. In fact, the scaling of the hills looks great. I totally buy into these hills. And painting, it's tree painting and it's a bit spammed. I think it works on this particular map, and I'm good with it. I'm good and golden. I'm happy to roll with what we see here. But yeah, the scaling on the hills is really nicely done. Now, remember this bit of rail here that was just stopped dead before the mountain? There is a little bit of blue mantle right there. Again, very easy to fix. I do have a blue mantle tutorial. Do check my tutorials list for that if you're wanting more information. Liking the way that the start square intersection is just a little bit different. We go elevated and then come back down to ground level. Very slickly done. It's just a bit different. We do have a splash of blue mantle here as well, which is caused by the junction right at the point where we get a transition between elevated and ground level. So if we were to switch one of these to elevated, which apparently I can't because it's out of the city limits. See here, we're out of the city limits there. There's no fixing. In a moment, BonBon will notice, and then he'll do the one up the top there. He'll be fine. BonBon's on it, right? So yes, I could just see my brain working here, going, why is this not working? Why can I not do? What is going on here? And then I realise, oh, numpty. So I just go and do the one at the top, okay? Are you alright with me just doing the one at the top? You'll get the gist. Okay. So just by changing the junction to elevated there, we've instantly got rid of the blue mantle. And it's only because there's a junction where the two roads come in and connect together that is really being a problem. If you took away the junction, it would still probably be okay, I feel. Probably. Anyway, yes. My brain was hurting at that point. What's going on? I'm trying to record the show here. BonBon's being dumb. Yeah, I have my moments too. Anyway, that is basically it. Quite an interesting map. Lots of playability, but am I right? Oh, look, it's an essential lighthouse. Isn't she lovely? Is this a 1-star map? Is it a 5-star map? Is it somewhere in between? Your vote really does count. We use it at the end of the month for the Viewer's Choice Top 10. Will this be one of the top 10 maps of the month? Only you can decide. Hit the I button now or the link in the description. It will take you to the voting page where you can vote for free. But make sure you're voting on Fictitious Topographic map number 2, because there are, of course, 2 maps today. Right, what do I think of Fictitious Topographic map number 2 by XDogs1? Well, again, aesthetically, I like the design of this map. The map is very clearly designed. It's well thought out. I'd probably, just on the design alone, go for a low 4. But, of course, we aren't looking at that. We got the wrong theme. We should be looking at this with a vanilla theme. And I think we've got to go for a high 3 because we've got to lose score. Detailing, I like it. There's nothing to push it into 4 stars. We've got a few hints of blue mantle. So again, I've got to go for a high 3 on this one. It feels like it should be a 4-star map, really. Anyway, gameplay potential. This map feels like it should be a high 4, and I would go high 4, but it needs mass transit. Mass transit isn't listed there. For this map is technically broken, and it has to get 1 star. Oh, that hurts. Fictitious Topographic map number 2 by XDogs1. It's better than the score I've given it. That's all I can say. The next map won't be. And so on with today's second map. And you're probably looking at this going, what? Yeah, that's mainly because it's not meant to be seen like this. In fact, it's not even meant to be built on. In fact, it's not meant to be even opened in the game engine. So, of course, we're going to look at it in the game engine. It's actually meant to be only used in the theme editor. But as I'm not really that experienced in the theme editor, and I reckon there's going to be a good number of you who like doing theme mixing with Theme Mixer, we'll look at it in the game engine. We'll look at it here. But if you are one for making themes, you can open this in the theme editor and use it for your theme mixing. It makes sense. It's a great idea. Today's second map is Map for Theme Creation by Random5. Random5, absolutely genius idea, my friend. I mean, it does remind me of when I was making a What theme. Anybody remember What theme? That short-lived series. Yes, I built a map specifically for this kind of purpose. That would be the start square. Those are the terrain heights. You're about to see where the resources are. Again, all of this is only because I think if I don't follow the usual pattern, somebody's going to have a little hissy fit and say, but I wanted to see what it looked, I want to see what the Sunset Harbour looks like. Yeah, that's your fishing. If you want to play this as a map, you can. I don't recommend it. Okay, off to the workshop. It tells you everything you need to know. All of the little images there, nicely written description. It explains everything. Little additions, excuse me. Little additions and updates have been made. I have a suggested update as well, which I'll tell Random about when we do the flyover. And if you've got anything that you think should be added as well, let Random know in the comments of this video and on the workshop. And there's theme editor maps is required to be able to load a custom map into the theme editor, and that's been linked in as well. And there are a few rocks as well required too. Anyway, let's hand this over to a slightly younger Bonbon, and I'll see you right at the end of the show. And so down at ground level we have some moving traffic, which at least says the map is working. We have operations at the edge of the map. The map, this level, I mean, yeah. If we were just to snip this out as a skyline, that's nice enough, I guess. I've seen less pleasant hills and scenery. A little bit low on trees, but again, that's not what this map is about, is it? We will do a little fly down here. A little live fly down. When we get down to the main area, we have a little bit of field painting. And we have a little built up area here. We'll talk more about all of that in a moment. Then we have some interesting shaped hills, like so. Another shaped hill over here, and we have a little bit of coast with some beaches and somebody honking the horn outside. Thank you. Carry on as you do. Right, so let's look at what actually, now we've seen, this is the map, everything's there, you've seen it all. Yeah, start square is, come out of here, out of that mode, there we go, start square. I mean, it's workable, isn't it? I think. In fact, let's have a little look at this area that's built up for us. Everything's in place. We've got a mixture of all of the roads as well, which is going to be just really nice for when we switch up to different themes. And it's just still, all of it's here, all of the bits. We've got the ability to check and see how themes look with the regular model. And when you pull back and this thing switches to the LOD, which for me is going to be there, so that building switches. You can see how it looks with both the quick load and the full load. But the same over here. The power station and this tall building, we pull back, it'll switch out to the LOD there. We'll see. I almost like the power station better in the LOD. A little bit. Kinda, a little bit. Anyway, so we have all sorts of different levels of things. So this will be this is sand, and that's what the sand texture looks like at 100%, and 100% strength gives us a sand texture like so, running down through 80, 60, 40. You can just see where it starts struggling a little bit, and especially with this vanilla texture, the sand on the edges starts looking a bit, well, here, there you can see it really starts tiling. That's the alpha channel, just the merge between, there you go, even lower than 1%, and lower still, and that's the weakest setting we've got there, as provided by Random. So you have your sand, then you've got your fertile, you've got your ore and you've got your oil, and also how fertile mixes with the ore and the oil, because that gives you a slightly different texture as well. And it's really good that Random has thought to include that. Very pleasing. Then we've got how it appears on gradients. So we've got here flatland as it transitions into cliff. So we can see how the fertile is changing there, and the same with the other two resources there as well. And then how it transitions into sort of like steeper cliffs and more variant cliffs as well. So really good inclusion there as well from Random. And the same with the sand, and then you get the cliff sand texture as well, and that's quite sweet. Quite sweet inclusion there too. Then we have the cliff texture from 3 different light settings, because obviously you're going to get slightly different visuals depending on where the light is at any given time. So you don't need to move the sun around, you can find a light source like so. They've included the vanilla rocks and how they appear. Might have been nice to have the vanilla rocks on I know, on flat and on all, have these rocks on the, because once again we've got the light from one direction. I think it'd be nice just to have had the light from multiple different directions. But this is really useful to see, like here. I don't think the black or the white rocks work really well against this vanilla texture, but if we look along here, I think this one's very good. This one kind of works a little bit. That one definitely works. So you can pick the rocks that best suit the textures that you're playing with. We've got little ponds down here. I think this is just for gameplay purposes to make sure the map works, because most of the water issues or textures that you're going to be looking at are down here at sea level, so you can see what the sand looks like under shallow water, and then as we pull back and it gets deeper and deeper and deeper, and you can see here how it's been done again with just like a deeper and deeper for underwater detailing. All of the top map makers would love to do something like this. Anyway, we've got again deep water sand going on under there, and we've got fertile over here, fertile oil and ore over here as well, which again doesn't show too clearly in vanilla, but we will switch a couple of themes in a moment just to see how all of this changes. And then of course forestry and how that works. Also pollution, there we go, pollution, polluted water, and the textures, how that works. So you can see how that works, and you can also see how it works against the sand texture too, which is a neat thing. And then let's say the field painting has been done, and you can see how that looks with these textures. Now what I'm going, oh, I'll come down to city as well. You can see like the concrete texture, the ruin texture, and so on. It's all there. It is all there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a theme mixer. Down here, sorry, I got a bit excited there. And we're going to choose a different theme and see how it looks with let's pick a random one. I'm going to close my eyes. That one, Crown Mountains, and there we go, it's now loaded in. Now we can check the completely randomly chosen theme and see how it looks here. So you can see with the field painting how the this extends beyond the fields. Now that's not a problem. If you were map making, you would detail to the edge of your texture. You wouldn't try and paint. You don't draw a field and then paint it. You paint the field and then you detail it. And so that's a neat thing. Down here again, just to see how the textures change there. We can check the ruins. That's slightly different tarmac texture there. And again, you can see how the textures merge, like down here, where you have the oil and the fertile, how they work together. The fertile and the ore, how they work together. The cliff textures. And the way that the rocks have been worked here, you can kind of, I think that's probably a good shout, that one, on this particular one. Also mossy would work on this one. And then we have the polluted water area again down here. It's actually a very nice theme, this one, actually. And you can see how, again, how the resource painting looks underwater there. We'll do another one, shall we? Again, I'm gonna randomly close my eyes here about this one. The Shire by Magic. Oh, well, this is an interesting one to choose. Yes, Magic's a very creative creator. Very, very creative. The sand looks like it tiles. Is that sand? No, this is oil. Sorry. Oil, which I think on this particular theme is used for snow. So yes, so this is your sand texture. And again, you can see how it gets softer and softer and softer as it goes down through the settings. And again, you can see how these things look on the different slopes. Always interesting. Let's do one more. Let's choose a regular, well-known one. How about there would be a striking one. Let's go with one of the Stray Cat Territory ones, shall we? Well, if I can find it. Maybe I should just choose the very first thing that comes to hand. There we go. MNSRRS. There we go. Nature Reserve. We'll go with that one. There we go. So with the Nature Reserve one, that's how this one will appear. And of course, on top of the theme, you can also, once you've found the theme that you kind of like, let's say we want to roll with Nature Reserve on this particular map, then we can play about with the LUTs as well. And we'll choose something other than Realistic 1.2 because it is what it is, isn't it? Realistic LUT Final. There we go. Kind of gets a nice, almost a greyish aesthetic out of that. So yes, now again, this is meant to be used in the theme mixer, not in the game engine, but we're here to look at maps in the game engine. And if you want, I should come have a little look down here. The rivers, the water with different depths and thicknesses. I think actually, random, if there's one more thing you could do is maybe like a thinner, lighter river. There isn't actually a really low, thin water spawn. So that's probably the one thing that I'd like to see added in here. But then, you know me and my rivers. Anyway, that's that, I think. I'm going to put in a... Let's see how this looks with the BonBon theme mix, shall we? We'll go with that. BonBon Islands. There we go. Load that in. There we go. Just... There's going to be somebody who say, wanted to see what it looked like with BonBon Island. So yes, there's the BonBon Island theme mix and how that comes together. I'll park this over here. So yes, we're not going to rank. We're not going to rank this map. It's not a map that's meant to be played on. So therefore, the ratings are absolutely irrelevant. But I think it's a really useful tool, especially if you're making a theme or if you're trying to choose a theme for a map that you haven't quite built yet. You've got an idea for a map. This is probably a really good theme. Sorry, really good map to build your theme mix on. Anyway, let's go back to me. And I'm back, slightly older BonBon. So yes, we're not going to be voting on this one for the map of the month. It's a tool rather than a map, but it counts as a map, and I feel that it was worthy of showing, and I'm going to roll with that idea anyway. Anyway, if you're still here, you can roll with me by using the word of the day in the comments to prove you're part of the 20 and out elite. And I'll be back on Monday with another What's Map, and of course with a chart show this weekend, and the viewer's choice coming up on Sunday. I'll see you then. Thanks for watching.